everybody. Good morning. Now we will begin the section. This Isaac, with time for presentation to exposition. So this time, secretary, we need a presentation de college jury. Tem a lista aí do júri, não? Não. Não tem. Nosso júri é presidido por mim e é composto pela professora Celeste, professora catedrática da academia. Isso é, da academia. Ela tem academia, eu não sei bem onde eu quadro. Na academia, Ciência e Tecnologias, e o nosso professor associado, certo, né? No segundo lugar, professor Mateta, vão avaliar o trabalho. Então, por gentileza, tens um tempo determinado por norma para fazer a sua apresentação.
Thanks for the floor given. Good morning. My name is CudiFula. I'll be presenting a lesson, present simple of related to logistics and transport management. This topic was taken from the course pack, English called Logistics and Transport Management. This lesson is addressed to students of first year of logistics in projection. The general objective of this lesson is to use verb to be in simple communication situations in English related to the professional context of logistics and transport management. The specific objectives. By the end of the lesson, students should be able to recognize the verb to be in simple sentences, identify personal pronouns in English, construct affirmative, negative, and interrogative sentences with the verb to be, and apply verb to be in practical situations in logistics and transport. Of course, we have already had about be from basic up to high school. We have learned the use of verb to be in general aspects. We know that to conjugate verb is necessary personal pronouns. All of us know, of course, how to conjugate verb to be because we got this already. Anyone please can conjugate verb to be just to see how will you, to see your background please. Okay? I can feel that in fact you have got the base or the background of verb to be. As we have, I am, you are, he is, she is, we are, you are, there is a verb. For negative, we just add not. An interrogative, we invert. Right? But as I said, we have the idea of verb to be in general aspect. This time, we are going to learn verb to be in a logistics context. As you are students of logistics, it's necessary you acquire information about verb to be in your field of studying. Present simple verb to be in logistics is used to identify roles and responsibilities. It states the job, role, or professional position of someone within the supply chain or logistics operations. Example, I am a logistics manager. You are a warehouse supervisor. He is a supply chain analyst. As you see, we have the use of verb to be in the right context of your studies. The second step is to describe status. It states the current status of shipments, orders, inventory, or operations. Example, the shipment is in transit. Delivery is delayed. Step number 3 is to describe condition. It describes the condition or quality of goods, equipment, or shipment. Example, the goods are damaged. The warehouse equipment is under maintenance. The cargo is temperature controlled. Step number 4, we have to describe location. It reports the current location of shipments, vehicles, or equipment. Example, the shipment is at the port. The truck is on the highway. The order is at the distribution center. Once again, we have verbs to be used to be applied with the specific lexicon of your study. Up to now, if you have got any problem in doubt, you can present the problem. Okay, you can feel that you are with me. Step number 5, to talk about availability. It reports whether items, shipments, or resources are available, reserved, or out of stock. Example, the inventory is out of stock. The delivery slot is booked. Step number 6 is to give definitions. Whenever we want to define a concept in logistics, we also use verb to be. It's very important. It defines terms, roles, processes, or items. Example, logistics is the process of planning, implementing, and controlling the efficient flow of goods. Another definition is a warehouse is a facility where goods are stored before distribution. Then we have step number 7. We use verb to be for future arrangement. It indicates that something is planned, scheduled, or expected to happen. Example, the shipment is scheduled to depart tomorrow. The last example, the truck is booked for delivery on Friday. In summary, verb to be in logistics can be used to identify roles and responsibilities, to describe status, to describe condition, to describe location, to talk about availability, to give definitions, and for future arrangement. Any doubt? Okay. I can feel that you have understood. you are with me. So let's check what you have learned with some exercises. The first exercise, I want you to complete the sentences using the correct form of the be. In this case, verb to be conjugated. Am is for are. Fill in the gaps. I give you some hints. Okay, ready? Line A, we have the warehouse manager. The right one is, of course, is responsible for overseeing inventory. The sentence is fits. The suitable one to be used. B, okay, the delivery drivers are, okay, are is the right verb for this sentence. Delivery drivers are on duty from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. C, I, of course, am. Am is the right conjugated verb for this sentence. I am the logistics coordinator in charge of scheduling shipments. Exercise number 2 is different from the first one. Here, I want you to underline the right verb. You can underline or cycle, no problem. Or even pick the right option. I give you some hints, please. Okay, we have the loading dock. What is the right one for this sentence? Is the right one. We have the loading dock is next to the main entrance. B. The refrigerated containers. What is the right one? Of course, are. Are is the right verb for this sentence. In section B of the warehouse. C. The supply office is on the second floor. Now, is the right verb to be used in this sentence. Exercise number 3. In this section of exercise, we are going to write the sentence or to rewrite the sentences into negative. The new shipment of electronics is ready for dispatch. What is the negative form of the sentence? Okay, we are not after is. You say is not becomes the right one. B, we have all trucks are inspected before leaving the warehouse. The negative is adding not after are. B, all trucks are not. Exercise number 4, write the questions of the following answers. In this section, I want you to write a simple question for these answers. The first answer is, inventory management is the process of monitoring stock levels. For this question, we can use question words. Is of what with the verb to be. What is inventory management? Can be the right question for this answer. What is inventory management? Then we have inventory management is the process of monitoring stock levels. B. Once again, we can use question word with verb to be what are hazardous materials. In this case, this question will suit with will match with the answer. Of course, we could see the explanation of virtually and some exercises. As this is the first lesson, is lesson number 1 here at university, it is in fact very important to see what you have learned from high school, and this time to be contextualized with your course now, which is logistics. I want you to have this homework. I want you to come along with this homework next lesson, next week in this case. For your homework, you will write 2 sentences in affirmative form, 2 sentences in negative form, and 2 sentences in interrogative form. But please, use present simple or verb to be mixed with the vocabulary of your course, the lesson of your course. Are you with me? Okay. Thank you very much for coming, and we are going to be together again without fail next week. Thank you very much for your attention.
Okay, thank you. You can sit. Now, as select, we have to take the board. We have 25 minutes. You this time take the question. Exactly, have to 10 time for answer, but 2 you can speak loud. So 15 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. It's a pleasure to be here today to witness Isaac CudiFula's public examination as a candidate for one of the posts in this big house. I know Isaac from his set, Rwanda, was one of our master degree students there. And before I even greet you, I'd like to also greet Dr. Matet from the Faculty of Humanities at Provimento University. And today we are just closing a long process that started in October last year. We had all the documentation that is submitted for this presentation, and I still have my report here. And one of my suggestions was that, okay, it was a good idea that felt that because he was dealing with students who need some technical vocabulary, he designed the supporting material, which is very good. But for this specific presentation, I suggested that we needed a lesson plan so that he could perform what really goes on in his lessons when teaching. And I'm not going to talk about the material itself, because the material is okay, and it can always be improved, because writing is a recursive process. Writing is a never-ending process. We can still improve it, and I can help you to improve the material. But today, I'm very much concentrated on what you did for this specific lesson plan. And I'm not going to ask you all the questions at once. I want to interact with you, Isaac. Which group level are your students?
Moment I can classify them as, in fact, we have got a mix. Some students come along with different backgrounds.
Mhm.
Yeah. But whenever I'm with them the first time we have the lesson, the first day of the lesson, I check, and most of them are elementary.
Elementary. And what is the main purpose of the lesson that you just taught us?
The main purpose of this lesson was to see back what they had before using verb to be, but this time with the logistics context, because they were listening with general English. As introduction, it's really important for them to see what they will have along the year. Our syllabus here is made with grammar aspects from the basic up to advanced, all grammar aspects. And they are mixed with specific lexicon. It means that I prefer to give them this first lesson because verb to be is a basic topic. And some vocabularies are chosen, I consider them to be also the most used in logistics.
So if this is the very first lesson that you are teaching them, why did you introduce technical vocabulary from the very beginning?
At the very beginning, if we see all the vocabularies are used, are mixed with their vocabulary and general vocabulary.
What do you mean by their vocabulary?
Of logistics. Of logistics.
Yeah, but they know vocabulary in Portuguese, not in English,
Yes,
right?
yes. Sometimes along the lesson, I ask them, I try to translate some terms. I translate sometimes whenever they have difficulties to understand the lesson.
And this is where I want to go. So you are teaching English, and you are telling me that sometimes you need to translate words.
Yes.
And I don't totally agree with the translation in an English classroom. Because if your students get used to you translating whatever difficult words they come across, then their brains will become lazy. They will start or stop making an effort to get the meaning of the new words. So you must avoid translation. I'm not saying that translation is forbidden. What I'm saying is the teacher shouldn't use translation, because I myself, according to the experience I have, this is not a very good way of teaching. Now, you also mentioned a list of items in which the verb to be can be used to describe states or to describe conditions, to describe locations, to talk about availability, give definitions, make future arrangements. And I was lost at that specific part, because I was listening attentively to you, trying to follow the flow of your lesson. Because each item here can be a lesson in itself. If you pick up, for example, describing locations, this is a topic for a lesson. If you say giving definitions, it can be a lesson in itself, one single lesson. Okay, but you might have a reason for doing that, and I would like to know what is the reason of coming up with this list.
I prefer to give them in advance the use of verb to be, as Dr. suggested that I will rearrange the day I teach them verb to be. I can give them in advance the use of verb to be, and the next time, step by step, we'll explain them.
Yes, because you need to stick to what do I need my students to be able to do at the end of this lesson. You don't want them to be able to do all those things. Okay? You need to select what you need them to be able to do at the end of the lesson. And this is the reason why at the end of the lesson, we teachers, we ask ourselves, was the aim of the lesson achieved? Did students get where I wanted them to get or not? So you need to narrow down the content of the lesson, stick to that content, and avoid adding extra information. Okay? The other thing is that summary that you provided us, again, it's a long list of things. And this goes in the same boat as the previous comment. Even the exercises that you gave us, exercise number 1, number 2, number 4, number 3, and so on, I didn't quite understand the purpose of, coming up with all those exercises, because what I was expecting was, okay, my lesson will be about this, the purpose of the lesson is this, and at the end of the lesson, I want my students to be able to do that. In order to meet that goal, I will take this step and that one. Because we know that a lesson plan has got some stages. We have presentation, and then practice, and then production, and finally the post-production or the follow-up. And this is what I was expecting to see. Which course did you do it? You said applied linguistics or methodology?
Applied linguistics.
Applied linguistics. It should have been methodology. Yeah, now I can see. Isaac, there is my personal opinion is that in your lesson there is too much technical vocabulary, and my suggestion, it's not a recommendation, because when we say recommendation we are making it compulsory, but my suggestion would be that in your lessons you need to stick to the content and obey what should be done in each stage of the lesson. Keep double checking what students are doing, how they are reacting to you, and to some extent you did this in this presentation right now. And integrate the skills. Don't say, in that lesson I'm going to teach grammar, and in that lesson I'm going to teach vocabulary. Because there is no pure vocabulary lesson, there is no pure grammar lesson. The skills should be integrated with the sub-skills. Okay?
Yes.
Yeah, having said that, we are present and done. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Isaac,
Yes.
you need to speak something?
I'm real happy with the marks of the first selection. I'll follow the advice to better his book. Any doubts?
No, the book is fine as it is. I think that what you need is some support on the methodology side.
Yes. Yes, even
Yeah.
in this case, those steps I said,
Mhm.
but I suggested that I should stick that. Step by
Yeah.
step, those means that in the book I'll.
You have my phone number,
Yes.
you can always,
I'll look for.
Professor Lebrot.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to greet Sally, who is the co-examiner, and commend Isaac on the presentation chosen topic. I really read all the supporting material you designed. Before, it has been a long way, like Sally said. We began a long time ago in October. Then we have submitted some changes we made, and we're supposed to bring them forward as well. As it is stated in the book you gave us, you sent us before, it has been designed for logistics and transport management students. And there is no any indication who you mean, first year, second year, or even advanced learners. That is very important to know. In no way is that states the profile of students you're teaching. It's very important because your focus is much more on ESP. It's very important to say the profile of these learners so that they can be able to follow up. It's very, very important. And I read the same book as well. And I could see the aim, which is enhancing the English language proficiency of logistics and transport management. In some cases, I will make some synopsis, I'll make some comments, and finally I'll ask one or two questions. You can just take a note and refer to them if needed, and sometimes we really don't need to. Just take as a point to improve the presentation later on. The aim is to enhance the English language proficiency of logistics and transport management at EPHS, this vocation process, and focusing on communication skills, which is relevant to their level or even background. As I could see from your lesson, there is nothing about communicative approach except from teaching them lexicology, which is dealt with technology for transportation. You never engage them, because if you want them to enhance skills in communication, it's wise you have another approach, which is not this we're using here, the translation approach. And then when you presented the lesson, you said the verb to be should be used in simple communication situation, which is you're not trying to enhance them. If your communication is very simple, how are you going to enhance the skills of these learners? The other concern is, Isaac, it is first year, and at this time, they are not really English friendly. There should be some background of general English before you move to ESP. How can you begin teaching ESP to newcomers to university? Did you find out which level they bring to university before you plan? Or that was really designed randomly, you didn't know what to tell them? And the other thing which is very, very important, in this case when we're going to teach ESP, is to find out whether there is a need for comparative grammar, like Portuguese English, though not often translation is called forth here. The content is basically morphology and syntax, as per what you sent us. There is nothing about communication. Are you going to suggest some kind of internship whereby they use the language all the time, where you have interactive lessons and they can use both English language and ESP? Isaac, before you design the book, the one you sent, did you check or even double check what year is ESP suitable for? I hope you follow me. How can students enhance skills if they don't even know how to use to be? You get it?
Yes,
What I'm trying to do is just to help you in near future so that you can review this and you apply it accordingly. Because not often we really want to do things the same way they should be. Because ESP is really tricky, confusing, rather than giving the wrong image. As per your lesson plan, again, the motto, which is the course, it's much more teacher-centered rather than learner-centered. Do you think with this approach, which is teacher-centered, they will be able to enhance the skills? Because it's you who is the center of the lesson all the time, except when you ask them to fill the gaps. All the other things you do is teaching them. And teacher-centered lessons are not feasible for enhancing communicative skills. Just trying to guide you so that I can really move forward. And you know, Isaac, you're teaching English here for logistics as well. Do you have kind of background in this field?
logistics.
Yeah.
I don't have background.
You don't have background. Okay, because you know, teachers of ESP should have strong English proficiency, which is you have to know to have a positive attitude toward the field, or I mean the specialization as well, and to have kind of needs analysis to create relevant field-specific material, like you were trying to do. In this case, you'll probably use business material or even transportation material to help them be very keen on the field. And before they are keen on material, it's up to you to be friendly to the same field. Because being a trainer, not only a teacher, because they have to follow. You should be adaptable as well as a teacher, not only expecting them to change. And one of the things is acting as a trainer of the course, not only subject aspects like you were showing, for instance. Because talking about transport and management as well in this field is much more tricky rather than giving the conjugation of tenses like we're doing here also. And before designing your plan, it's wise to identify language requirements. I was expecting you really to show this because you were not supposed to be telling us how you teach. You were supposed to show the lesson plan based on the theories you have raised before. And methodology, as I could see as well, it's really good to based on training-centered approach, like I said. It should be a focus on methodology rather than teaching them and so on and so forth.
Just for
The methodology should be training-centered, not teacher-centered, for instance. Okay. How do you assess them when it comes to assessment? That was really, I was expecting also to hear from you, because any lesson, after you have taught them, it's very important to tell us the assessment, the evaluation process. How you do this? How do you measure performance of those? How do you know how much they learn from the lesson you give them? So all these tips will help you really to enhance and to help them feel good while teaching them. Because the verb to be alone will not be enough to help them speak. I'm talking about what you said before, not what you're presenting now. Because what you're presenting now has nothing to do with what you said before, which is enhancing skills. Unless you have forgotten to tell us any other ways and techniques you use so that they can enhance their skills as well. Are we together? Are you following?
Yes, I'm following.
Okay. But finally, which is the one I really want you to, how do you know your learners enhance skills after all this you present? In other words, I have already told you how to, but how do you measure that? Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you.
Isaac,
Yes.
you have what?
Okay. Thank you very much for questions and some remarks. I'll begin with the remarks. I think most of the questions asked, I think will break them into advice. I will try to better following what Dr. said. As you see in the past, it was like teacher-centered approach. I'll try to make it be a learner-centered approach. I saw how without fail.
Just to help you, your methodology should be aligned with the aim.
And about studying the field, in fact, it's very important to be in the field, to understand about linguistics before learning. I've written this book because of the need. Because there is no sense. Students from 7th grade up to high school, they have English. Of course, it means that they have a background, something which will support them to face university. Being at university, giving them the same vocabulary, I thought it was not fair. That's why I did this material. Though I'm not an expert of this field, but it was reviewed by someone who understands.
How many years do they have English?
The students?
Yeah.
From 7th grade?
No, I mean here.
This is the first time, the first year.
It's the first year.
The first year, of course.
No more.
Normal, yes, it's the first
Why
year.
don't you suggest the chancellor of the university or even the coordination to add a year more? Because you cannot do GSP in the first year. At least you suggest the university to have a year which is foundation for general English. Then you have the second one which is ESP. That would be well.
Or even the first semester, general English, the second semester.
And one semester is 3 months. It's not enough. So.
But we can always integrate general English.
General English first, then you move to
Yes.
the
Because I had that experience, which was quite good from the interpretation of the president. I had a good experience with a group of boys who were having an English course because they applied for a job Barlow Woods, a South African company. And then they asked me if I could teach them English, technical vocabulary for mechanics in 8 months. And of course, I had to combine general English with specific English. And they succeeded, and they went to South Africa to take the mechanics course, and they all did very well. So it's possible, but it depends on how much effort the teacher puts in. But I totally agree with Dr. Martet when he says that the student should have 2 years, one for general English and the other one for
I just want to
DSP.
have an advice from you. Can I add the glossary of vocabulary, in this case, the name of the book, the vocabulary with the English and Portuguese?
Isaac, the problem doesn't lie on the books that you are going to give them. They can be exposed to many, many, many books, but the key person in that learning process is you. Yeah.
When I said 2 years are needed, if we look at English language on a daily basis, it's probable to have the first semester general English and the second one ESP. But you have it only once or even 2 times a week. That will not be enough. I don't know the timetable used. How often do they have English?
Once a week.
Once a week. So once a week.
Yeah, once a week.
Is not representative and 3 times. It's the same like in the foundation school. So in the primary school they have 2 hours or 3 hours per week. It's the same like here. So you have to rethink. If the target is to really enhance their skills, otherwise we will have learners who can have a lot of vocabulary, but they will not be able to speak it.
I'll convert it into it's missing communication, as Dr. Matel said. It's necessary put the student in the center, make them speak. And well, all will depend on direction of the university. It's possible to add 1 more year, the years, because they need more time to learn. And as I asked you probably, it's possible we apply this book first semester. We can mix with the general English, and second semester on the technical, or we can keep on with general English. And
that will depend on the needs analysis. If you really have to set up a plan whereby you have to know their backgrounds. Let's suppose you have all the kids coming from Namibia. There will not be a problem because you're teaching the ESP. But if all your learners are from Angola, Rwanda, for instance, and you know our schools, that will not be enough. So needs analysis is very important.
That maybe you can suppose about the moment reviews, PPC, you can suppose it.
Yes.
So you can speak about your program only English. Explain about it.
Yes, while designing the course syllabus that is PPC,
Yes.
you can just submit this as a proposal. You know? It's very important to be forced rather than the general knowledge of things.
All right. Okay. I have only one question.
Yes.
I see you don't use the regular for word, the regular for rewrite
Right.
the scientific words.
Norms,
Yes.
IPA, person.
Qual foi o motivo que você não usou, veja ali que você não usou as regras de interpretação do teste científico?
Esse foi disse a pouco do tema teste para esse teste. Praticamente eu dou mal comandado, né? Fazer médias, né? Nesse foi fazer algo, podemos fazer, não tem que fazer. Incluir aquelas testes científicas.
Tá bom. Pronto. Tomamos nota, vamos liberar.
Yeah.
Temos 1 minuto. Take 3, 4 minutes. 4 minutes.
The sound.
Isaac Domingos CudiFula, estando presente o professor doutor Alfredo Gabriel Busa, como presidente do júri, e o magnífico reitor da Universidade de Luanda. A primeira vogal, professora doutora Celeste Ana da Glória Eduardo Sambeno, professora catedrática do ICE de Luanda. O segundo vogal, professor doutor Francisco Matete, professor auxiliar da Universidade Agostinho Neto, e o secretário João da Cruz, docente da Uniluanda. A prova decorreu nos termos do Decreto Executivo número 140/21, de 1 de junho, e após a apreciação, o corpo de júri, deliberou-se pela seguinte: aprovado com distinção, com 97,5%. O júri fez as seguintes recomendações: melhorar a metodologia de ensino e ajustar o texto às regras dos trabalhos científicos.
Penso que tem que fazer uma retificação. O doutor Mateta é só associado.
Não, ainda não pode manter a nada. Eu estou falando do projeto que entrou na altura.
Ok.
Até informal é associado, mas o que entrou na altura do processo está.
Sem problema. Eu vou entregar ao doutor Celeste o certificado para compor o seu currículo. Nós logo entregamos. Não, esta foto. O doutor deixa que eu entregue o certificado do doutor Celeste. É uma honra. Pronto. São as evidências. Sem problema não. Para quem não conhece a doutora Celeste, é o monumento do ensino superior. Não, resista. Muito bem. E aqui também para o doutor Mateta, entregar o seu certificado. Primeiro, a minha honra. Primeiro, todos os dias que eu tenho esse privilégio. Tiraste na nossa também? É da nossa, a gente guarda aí para o ministro. Muito bem. Já? Secretário, vem buscar o seu. Obrigado pela colaboração. E a foto. Já? Eu vou dar à doutora Celeste a honra de entregar o certificado ao Isaac. Passa aqui, passa aí. Não, é aqui à frente, sim, pode. Fecha a câmera aqui. A doutora pode chegar lá e faz a entrega.
E agora acho que sim.
Permite-me entregá-la para.
Obrigada.
Faz a foto.
Tá? Tirou do
Professora, vamos lá do júri.
Obrigada.
Agora vamos para a foto do júri.
Foto do júri.
Parabéns. Até vou ficar daqui lá. Pronto. Faz novamente a foto do júri com todo o júri. Depois faz com a nossa máquina. Pronto. Tá? Pode dizer alguma palavra? Eu sei que você tem um dos melhores júris que eu podia ser em inglês. E sei que me deixa satisfeito que eu não tenho júris melhores, né? Isaac, tem a palavra.
Sim, na verdade, muito obrigado por ter esta mesa, e mesmo de grande honra.
Concordo
Não
consigo.
é nada fácil, não é nada fácil. Eu já tenho ouvido falar sobre o Dr. Mateca há bastante tempo, então, em primeira mão, quer dizer, em chefe, é conhecer o Dr. Mateca que existe. A doutora Celeste também, que é uma professora, está tendo um grande honra mesmo. E, acima de tudo, um magnífico estar na minha mesa com o Dr. também. Bem, aqui no IPE já estamos uma grande seara, né? A seara é muito grande, em termos de material, e precisamos mesmo trabalhar neste quesito, porque senão vamos ter estudantes a saírem daqui sem aquele background direto. Seria muito, muito feio, né? Um estudante de logística sair daqui sem saber o que é armazém em inglês, por exemplo, mercadoria, coisa do gênero. Então, a seara é muito grande e creio eu que ao longo desta senda vou mesmo precisar dos doutores para poderem fazer algumas correções, apesar de que também é preciso que o pessoal que entenda a área estará sempre presente para poder fazer algumas correções técnicas e aquelas correções que têm a ver com aspectos didáticos, que, na verdade, estarem batendo nas vossas portas. Então, estou totalmente satisfeito, sem palavras, e muito obrigado.
Olha, já tem uma tarefa, nós parece que esta semana, não, próxima semana,
Só para dar uma noção.
por isso vai estar indicada para depois trabalhar com a doutora Celeste. Esta é a primeira foto. Já? Para ver se a gente consegue fazer um curso que eles ministram lá mais específico, voltados para a questão linguística. Vamos trabalhar agora a questão da formação posterior, não por fazer mais o trabalho do doutorado.